Good morning, Rogersville. Diner-style breakfast is back in Rogersville, baby.
It happened.
We'll tell you where right after this. And we are back.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, okay. I've eaten there twice. I had their breakfast twice: biscuits and gravy, sausage, bacon, hash browns, fried eggs,
Cooked to order.
Cooked, yeah, everything that you would want.
Los Compadres.
Los Compadres.
Yeah, don't think. Okay, I'm eating fajitas for breakfast.
No.
This is country style.
It is diner style. It's
the American diner style breakfast, traditional breakfast is
brilliant. I can't wait. I can't. I'm gonna make it a point to go before the week is over.
Yeah.
Yes, we went when they announced that they were doing it. Was that Saturday morning? Yeah, and they did a good job, and they were so. Los Compadres has been open for a while, serving Mexican food in Rogersville. But I guess 1 million people told them they needed to serve breakfast, and they listened. And they're
what? Somebody listened?
What?
Well,
listen to your customer base.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
their attitude about it was so like humble and kind.
Yes.
Like we're trying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna try this. Obviously, I feel like they've stepped out of their comfort zone. And listened. That's the deal. They listened. They listened to what people asked for, straight up. And good morning, Beth. Good to see you again.
Yeah, we were worried about you, Beth.
Well, yeah, last week we almost sent somebody for you.
We did.
Yeah.
Glad you're all right.
She messaged me and confirmed she was okay
I
after
love
the show
it.
last week.
Good. Yeah, I tell this story all the time, but when we decided to come to Rogersville, when I say we, I mean Story Church, and we've been here now over 4 years. Which is crazy. I mean, we've been as a church over 8 years, but we moved permanently into town. And so I'd been asking, going to chamber meetings and going to different, community events and just asking people I knew, listening. We just kept saying, what do you wish Rogersville had? And the thing that we kept hearing over and over again was, we wish we had a community center.
Yes.
Which I was like, all right, as a church, we can't afford that.
Yeah.
Wish we had a sit-down breakfast diner.
Yep.
And we wish we had a coffee shop.
Yep.
So we did the one thing we felt like we could do, and so we said, all right, we'll make our lobby Storytime Coffee Company, and give people that third space that they didn't have, a place to sit down and enjoy a good cup of coffee and have a quiet conversation or have a Bible study.
Nice
because we didn't have that, and so that was important to us. If we're going to come into town, we want to listen first, not tell you what you need, but listen and respond to that.
Weird.
So to me, this is super exciting.
It's very exciting.
Because we heard it over and over, and we've been hearing it. I wish we had a good sit-down breakfast joint. And they did it.
They did it.
So get out and support it.
Yeah, go eat breakfast.
Yes,
Los Compadres. If you don't know where that is, you go to the Apple Market and then drive all the way across the parking lot to the other side.
Yep.
So my senior year of high school, and I went to Republic High School, graduated in 1994, Brown's Country Kitchen was
Brown's
there,
Country Kitchen.
yeah, right next to the Ford dealership in Republic, right off Highway 60. And I took 0 hour. It was a dual credit ancient history class. And
Sounds like fun.
yeah, so I mean, I'm going to school an hour earlier already. I think it was 7:20 start time.
Okay.
And but there was a group of us guys that I mean, we got there at 6:30 at Brown's
Yeah.
Country Kitchen,
That's
and a lot of
lucky.
times all we ever did was order a bad cup of coffee. But
Which
you
they
know,
appreciated.
right? But I would splurge every once in a while, and get the biscuits and gravy for like
Yeah.
$1.50, you know, and that was a big
Oh,
splurge
yeah.
when you're a senior in high school,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we hung out there every morning before 0 hour. I mean, literally every morning we did that. That was our routine.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
hoping we get to do that here.
Yeah,
at
we
Los
need
Compadres.
but what I remember was the old guys. I'd walk by, there was a group of old guys, you know, and one's got a big stogie in his mouth, and they're sitting there,
Yeah.
you know, and I'd always say, "Good morning, gentlemen," and they'd be like, "Rrr," and just kind of grunt, just kind of groan, like, "What's this young guy talking to me for?"
Hi, Heather.
Good morning,
but,
Heather.
yeah, I could just picture that there's going to be that table of old retired guys,
They
and
would.
then there's going to be this group of high school kids hanging out before.
I haven't seen the high school kids yet, but the others there. And you know what?
Good. I'm gonna go hang out with the old guys.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
like it.
did. But you know, I'm more and more. I'm like, no, I am an old guy.
Yeah,
so-
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to go hang out with the old guys like I'm not one of
like
them.
I'm not one. Yeah, like, no. But no, you know, I knew I was in good shape when I pulled up this morning, and there was about 5 other big old trucks sitting
That's
out
good.
right out in front. I'm like, yep, that's the way
good.
it needs to work.
Yeah, I went to work out yesterday. I waited for the temps to come up a little bit. So I
Oh
think I went
my
around
gosh,
noon.
what a
And
mess.
Shane had asked me when I got home, she goes, so was there anybody at the gym? I'm like, yes, it was awesome. I pulled up, and there were 5 4-wheel drive pickups that were parked out front. So only
Yeah. Oh, and hey, for the record, you and me, we know this, but 4-wheel drive really doesn't help much,
Not much on ice.
the ice.
better than only having rear
Yeah,
wheel drive,
much
but-
better.
Yeah.
But you know, when you slide off,
Yeah.
you've got a shot at getting back.
Right.
But it's not going to keep you from sliding
No.
off.
Ice is a different beast.
And every once in a while, you see these guys in their 4-wheel drive trucks that maybe
Yeah.
don't understand that.
Yeah.
That think it's like driving in snow.
It's not.
And
Yep.
It's not.
No, ice is a different beast.
Well, yesterday was probably some of the worst road conditions we've had in a long time, I
Yeah.
think. I mean, even the past couple of winters, we've had some snow and different stuff like that, but the road conditions were truly terrible. You know, when
Yeah.
you've got plows in the ditch, salt trucks in the ditch.
It's
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, when it was the one where like the parking lot is icy enough that when you stop, I mean, you come to a complete stop
Yeah.
and you just start sliding.
You're like, oh.
whichever way's downhill is
Yep.
where you're going to slide. And
Yeah.
it was that way yesterday. It was.
It was really something. I didn't get out until it was afternoon, and just seeing as I made my way down, and the main roads were good by then,
Sure.
even though the back roads were still quite slick. It was it was ominous not seeing many cars out, but then seeing lots of cars in the ditch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You thought, man, somebody got up early, tried to go to work, and
Yep.
had a bad day.
I will always say the saving grace of the 07 ice storm, was it 07 or 08? Whichever
07.
one.
Well, we had
07.
a secondary bad
Yes,
one in
in
08,
08,
but yeah,
was
7 was
the
worse.
roads did not get covered during the 07 ice storm. The roads were clear, so you could get out and go escape your dark surroundings.
I remember the ice storm of 1987.
1987. I don't remember that one.
I bet you don't.
Why?
But
Because it was around Christmas
the
time.
It was
08
right on
one-
Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 08 one, the roads did get nasty. And had we not had 07, 08 would have been just an absolute disaster. Because not only would your power have all been out, because all the limbs were gone at that point.
That's right.
The whole town had basically been scalped.
Had
of
been
its
pruned.
limbs.
Yeah.
It was
well, and
forcefully
I
pruned.
I was super happy about that. We didn't have any power outages this last time around.
Right.
Yes,
Last night. Over
yeah.
the
Very,
weekend.
very few people did.
Yeah.
It
That's
didn't
good.
last long.
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
And it was dicey, though.
The temps got up to 32 pretty quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I expected it to kind of get better faster yesterday than it did,
I think everybody did.
and
Yeah.
it did not.
Because I made it home around 5 p.m. yesterday, and again, the main roads were pretty good.
Yeah.
And I say just the main roads.
Yeah.
Because some of even the secondary highways were still patchy and slick.
Yeah.
U Highway was clear when I came home about that same time yesterday afternoon. It was just my little Sassafras road was it was ice covered, but the ice had come free from the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just slushy.
There were solid sheets of ice, but they weren't stuck to the road.
They're
So
floating islands of ice.
yeah, you had some ice flows. You had some. It was fine. It wasn't as bad as it was when I left earlier that morning.
Well, and then this morning, all the ice had melted, plus all the rain we got last night. So now we have standing water everywhere.
Yeah.
So we're
Well,
in the
the
mud
ground's
season.
still hard. Like
Yeah.
I looked in front of my trash can. I was putting some stuff in the recycling bin. I'm like, that's mud. And I kind of stepped around it, and I didn't sink at all. So the ground is still, which hence probably why we're still off school today, is I'm guessing like dirt roads and stuff like that don't get sun and whatever are still slick. But yeah, the ground was not spongy yet, but it's coming.
Oh,
the
it's
mud
coming.
season's coming.
You know how I feel.
I know. I don't know anybody who likes the mud season.
You know what, though? I'll endure the mud season to get to spring. I mean, come on.
It's not that
I'm
far
ready
off.
for some sun,
Just
longer days.
Well, yeah, if we need just that day when it's sunny and the wind's blowing about 60 miles an hour, I'm like, that's it, because
That's the day.
that's what dries up the
Beth remembers the 87 ice storm. Never got so sick of playing cards with my kids. Secondary wood heat and warm food on it.
Turkey on
Yeah.
the Weber.
Yeah, you didn't have any internet to keep you entertained.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
87.
Well, you know what?
We were just dark.
I was 11 years old, and we didn't have school, and I was having a good time. I did not care.
I was not 11.
I was 16, and I
was 3.
had just gotten a car
Yeah.
that I could not drive.
Yeah.
Because it was
So was it just a bad ice storm? Took out power?
took out power, but it took out power for like a week.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those
It
where
was
power was out
gnarly.
for like a week.
I don't think the tree and power line situation was like as bad as it was in 07.
Oh, my gosh,
But it
it's so
was
crazy.
it was worse than 08. We'll say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
It was,
crazy.
It was rough.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, and so back to like the original conversation, listening to what the people are asking for and bringing. I feel like there's a lot of that happening in Rogersville right now. I think there's a lot of people trying to fill the gaps in town, and I do hope that people get out and support these places and, support it when somebody's expanding their menu, expanding their offerings. Like, well, you guys just added a bunch of breakfast options.
Yeah,
Several.
Yeah, the neighbor's mill, and even kind of a light
Yeah.
lunch or snack option with the avocado toast with bacon and egg.
Yeah.
Delicious.
So it's cool.
Well, like you mentioned before about, they had a real humble spirit about
They did.
about it. They're just so friendly with it all. And
Yeah.
they will take feedback.
Yeah.
And the guy that was taking care of me yesterday morning, since I was the only one there, we were chatting a little bit. He says, "We're still trying to figure out this American breakfast thing." I'm like, "That's okay. We'll help you."
If that was kind of their dry fire, they did a good
They
job.
did a great job. Yeah, they did a really
Your
good
picture
job.
looked amazing.
It's it's what you would expect is the best way to put it. And I mean, it's a big deal to have it because people have asked for it for so long.
So long.
And I mean, I can't tell you how many times my family and I have got up on a weekend and gone into Springfield, and then that doesn't just transfer to us eating breakfast in Springfield. It transfers us to do grocery shop in Springfield, several things that could have happened in Rogersville.
Absolutely could have. And one of the things that I noticed too is I saw 2 posts within probably, I'm going to say 48 hours on, I think, the Rogersville, maybe your page, Rogersville Residents, or it was one of those pages. One of them was, wouldn't it be great if we had a little like boutique shop for like women, ladies, and girls that could go shopping? And then like the next post was, our little boutique shop is closing.
I know.
So there's a disconnect.
There is a disconnect.
So we had that. We had exactly what they were asking for. They just didn't know it. And that's
I wondered too when that post came up that it was closed, and I'm sorry for that. But
absolutely.
I wondered how many people learned for the first time we had a boutique shop when they saw that post.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly,
I did.
that boutique posts regularly on Rogersville Residents.
I've seen it. Yeah, I knew they
regularly.
existed. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I've been in there. I've shopped. I've gotten some things. I'm not much of a clothing shopper, so I'm like not the person you target for those businesses. But yeah, we had that. Well, and I mean, and Figgy's has a really neat store that we have in town, and they've got some clothing stuff too. So it's like sometimes you just kind of have to open your eyes a little bit and pay attention.
Well, that's why we're here at K-ROG. We're trying to make sure those connections get made.
Bring awareness, right?
Absolutely. Let people
This
know.
town is changing, and I believe
is
for the
changing.
good. It's nothing to be feared.
It is,
I think it's changing for the good, and we've all been asking for things, so let's go out and support it.
And exactly. If you're one of the people that's been asking for these things, when somebody shows up and invests in your town, show up.
Show up.
Give them your business.
For sure.
We got a good restaurant coming within, I think, a week or two.
I'm excited about that too.
I was hoping
because
to get an
that's,
update.
That's a gap that needs to be filled in my
It's
mind.
going to be great. You're going to have good lunch, but you're going to have a little bit of evening service. Good.
I think it's good.
And that's exciting. So
Well, and I mean, we've got Sue, of course, her crew, bakery crew. They're doing sandwiches and soups, so you got to get good lunch there. during the week and specialty sweets. They've got great sandwiches and soups through the middle of the week. You guys have some food options at Story.
Oh, we just learned of a new gluten-free bakery.
Yeah,
my wife is super happy about that.
I saw your wife's post
too.
with
Yeah.
cake, so we just ordered Maddox a birthday cake through her.
That's good.
Because she's, obviously, and it's like a legit gluten-free only kitchen, so it's clean for not just a gluten-free preference option, but for somebody who has actual celiac disease that cannot have gluten. So that's stuff like that's so exciting. So like, why wouldn't we have her do our cake if that's here in Raj? Let's do it.
Yeah. I think those are the Gooseberry Bridge Farm people. I think that's the daughter. I think
you're right.
I may be wrong, but I think that's right. And they do such a neat thing too out there. So I mean, there's a lot of options here. It's just breaking the habit. And I made a post about this on the residence page. We went and ate because the girls had some free ice cream coupons for reading. And so we went into Springfield.
Is that the new book it kind of thing? You don't get personal pan pizza and you get ice cream?
You get ice cream. Awesome. Bring back the personal pan.
I need that hot as lava.
Yeah.
I still can't taste anything.
I wanted to melt my face.
Years later.
I wanted to melt my face, and I'm not going to have patience.
But I got a high score on Galaga.
So delicious.
That's right. And put another dime in the jukebox, baby.
But we went to it's a good fast food burger place in Springfield. Traditionally, I would think of that, and we went there Friday night so the girls could get their free ice cream coupons and we could eat dinner. And the restaurant was gross. The service was, guys, and Springfield's becoming very big feeling. It feels very urban to me, a lot bigger than it used to. And there's lots of cool things in Springfield, but you have a town here that, I've never been grossed out going to a restaurant in Rogersville. It's like they're clean, they're friendly, they care.
They're your neighbors.
They're your neighbors. They
kids
donate
go to
your
with
kids, your football team. They sponsor shirts for PTA, all this stuff.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm glad you said that because I'll tell you, it is a burr under my saddle. Like I see, Seven Brew, everywhere around town. I'm like, Seven Brew is never going to give to our booster club like Storytime does. And, you got to support local if you want local to be great. And we've got a great town.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
So
and it's kind of underutilized.
Save your gas money.
Yeah.
It's expensive to drive to Springfield.
Insane driving. And,
Springfield's,
Meh.
It's mid.
Okay,
is that what
it's
it is?
mid.
No cap.
Mid.
I've got
no cap.
I've got a subject I want to discuss. This will be interesting. I think
we'll
to get your play on this.
talk.
Okay, this was sparked. Of course, I watched a little bit of the Chiefs game over the weekend, and I've I don't sit down and watch a whole football game, but I catch them a lot because Jesse's a big football fan, so it's always on. And obviously Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are dating, in case you guys didn't know.
Yeah, but I got to see Jason Kelsey's chest, so,
Okay, here's this spark thing. Okay, so yesterday morning I wake up and somebody shared a meme, and it basically said, and several people shared it, if you don't like the way Taylor Swift cheers, but you're celebrating Jason Kelsey, you hate women. I'm not going to say you necessarily hate women. Hold on, though. But it does spark a really good self-awareness. Think about this. Okay?
I'll ask the question.
Okay, think about this. It's a good thing to think about the double standard in the world that we live in, which they exist 100%. Taylor Swift is 34 years old. She gets excited. They bounce up and down. Her and Brittany Mahomes, I think is her name. Mm-hmm. They get excited. Okay. Jason Kelsey gets drunk, rips his shirt off.
Was he drunk?
He was drunk. There was multiple pictures of him with beer cans.
Yeah, but he's a big man.
He was drunk. I mean, he was drunk.
He was loose.
He's retired now.
Even if he wasn't drunk.
he's got nothing to keep that prime body in shape for.
I'm picturing Fat Thor right now.
I mean,
yeah, very much. Yeah. You've not seen the pictures?
His football, his football season ended like a week ago, so it's not like
his football career ended like a week ago.
Well, allegedly, allegedly. He says I don't think it's officially happened, but he's retired.
He's gonna Brett Favre it.
Which my response to both of them was a little bit of cringe on both sides. But we've all been there.
What was the criticism of Taylor Swift? Because I don't know.
So if you don't know this,
I mean, there's a lot to criticize about Taylor Swift.
Well, since Taylor Swift came on the scene in the Chiefsdom, right, in the first game that she showed up to, it was obnoxious how much they showed her on the camera and talked about her.
I thought it was a ruse. I
did too.
That next Sunday in my sermon, I was making a big deal about how this is all made up and whatever. It's not real.
So it was ridiculous how much time they spent on it, and it was annoying, especially for football fans. But that was really kind of a one-time thing. And after that, now they show her on much more of a regular show, wives of football players, on camera, where after a touchdown or something, it'll cut to her. It's brief though.
She looks up from her phone and cheers for a minute.
Yeah, I mean she's invested in the game. It looks
funny meme I saw yesterday was Travis Kelce wears number 87 because he's the 87th boyfriend of Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
but so to push back against your point,
and she's going to 86 him. Is that the?
I would say that Jason Kelce is relatable. Like I think we laughed. I think we smiled because like that was funny. Big brother, who has played against little brother, is now in the Super Bowl. He's up there cheering, beer in hand, shirt off, big smile on his face, a likable character. And I haven't listened. I've heard little bits, little snippets, but I hear his podcast that he and his brother do.
I haven't listened to him either.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And so people like him in general. People find him relatable.
Why don't they like Taylor Swift?
Because Taylor Swift, especially in the Midwest where Kansas City is, and Kansas City is a huge evangelical hotbed. Taylor Swift is, she's very liberal. She's very outspoken for liberal causes. I'm just simply saying, I'm not saying we bash her. I'm not making any argument for hating her, disliking her. I'm simply saying to Midwesterners, you had Jason Kelce, who's relatable, and therefore I can laugh, and likable.
Yeah.
And then you have T Swift, who I don't like her music. Sorry, everybody.
I think you can not like her music, but you have to respect her as an artist because she's a brilliant. I'm gonna say it. She's a brilliant musician,
and I'll take
songwriter.
And,
she is,
and entertainer and 100%. Businesswoman.
She's up there. She's a different type of person than Dolly Parton, but she's up there with one of the most talented entertainers, musicians, artists, intelligent business people on the planet that we've ever had. I mean, she is up there.
And again, I want to be super clear. I'm not listing any of these things to state this is why you should not like her.
Yeah.
I'm telling you why I think that is the perception.
And
I don't think it's man versus woman. I think it's relatable versus she lives on another planet. And I mean, while I can respect her, I just don't really relate to her.
I'm not sure about the double standard thing because I think if she got drunk and ripped her shirt off, she'd get just as much like.
Yeah, you get a lot of love there.
That would be an exciting moment.
I think you got to put apples to apples here. No pun intended.
But I do think there is, and I'm not going to say
that. You didn't say melons to melons.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that it relates to you hate women, but there absolutely is women get labeled as the B word and men get labeled as fun doing similar behaviors.
And I'm saying I agree with that. I don't know that this is your evidence of that.
Hey, Peter, can you put that comment back on the screen? Because I missed it.
It is a good subject though to bring up because it's thought provoking, right?
Sure.
Yeah, the Kelce show's language is a bit much, but they're funny on New Heights. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I've only heard little snippets, and I hear people talk all the time about how hilarious it is.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing funnier than two brothers that get along that can banter with each other. I mean, that's a hoot.
It's great.
But it does. There is. I do believe though that the subject of the meme is appropriate. That there is definitely a double standard when it comes to. And let's be honest, there's bias in everything with everybody. Men and women all deal with their separate problems, and I can understand that and not be triggered and offended.
Sure.
But it is good to think about these things sometimes. Like why am I cringe? I don't agree with Taylor Swift's politics. But I do listen to some of her music, and the girls like her. But am I going to go to a concert? No, because I'm not going to spend that much money to go to a concert. So it's, but I don't know. It was thought provoking, and I hope people.
Tell me more about her moat, Shauna.
No, her more.
More. I got kidding. I was just.
Yeah. See, Shauna's getting And I mean, I will say, I know she does support candidates and stuff and is outspoken. I've not really seen things of her doing that all the time. Does that make sense?
It does. I don't think that's the only reason that we get kind of just done with Taylor Swift. I think that to some extent, just so annoyed by the Swifties. It's just like, oh my gosh.
It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. I'm trying to think of who is like what is the different type of...
The fans are annoying.
Well, the Beatles, okay, so it's like, you know, it would have been like crotchety...
That would have been annoying, too.
Crotchety people back in the... When were the Beatles coming up? Was that the 50s or 60s?
Yeah.
So that would have been... And they were annoyed with the Beatles, right? They're like, they need to cut their hair.
Yeah, cut your hair.
Cut your hair and don't pass
Be
out
respectful.
at concerts. That's insane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this happens, right? You know, there's
Yeah. Everybody, Elvis.
everybody
quit shaking
gets...
your hips, young man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it
they
happens.
only was it Ed Sullivan? They'd only film him from the waist up.
Right.
They wouldn't show him
Just
the waist down.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because
All
like
the pelvic thrust.
if you look back at the way Elvis danced, it was
herky jerky.
It was awkward.
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
provocative.
Yeah.
It was just awkward.
He wasn't twerking.
No.
Oh man. So it is interesting though, because anybody who rises to the level of fame that, you know,
You're gonna have a target.
You're
on your
gonna
back.
have a target
Yeah.
on your back.
And and again, it's where like Jason Kelsey's not on that level of fame.
No.
He's just like this. Wow, if that drunk dad can become a Pro Bowl football player, maybe I could have been. You know, like it just feels like. Yeah, I like that guy, you know.
Yeah. Well, and I think it is too. I'm a little sourpuss on this because it's frustrating to me how drunk and belligerent people have become at sporting events, weddings, and different things like that. And I mean, it's gone too far.
Yeah.
And it is frustrating. It's one of the reasons why I will never take one of my kids to an NFL game. It's one of the reasons I don't care for the NFL as much as I used to. Because, I mean, just the amount of just belligerent drunkenness happening.
Just don't take him to a British soccer game.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, it is a little unnerving that as a society, like, that's how we're going to celebrate something, is just getting belligerently drunk. So that's a little bit of my
I'm with
factor
you. I'm
on
with
it.
you on that.
Well, we're going to have to do a whole new show on the devolution of culture. And
Yes, that is definitely something.
Whole different topic, and that's only part of it right there. But
Yeah.
anyhow, so
Interesting conversation.
how is your family dance?
Oh, it's going good. It's happening on the 9th, and then it's the Stars and Hearts, A Night in Hollywood Family Valentine's Dance. It's exciting. Should have a big turnout for PTA this year again. That goes for like pre-K to 6th graders and their families, and you do have to have your, you know, because I'm sure they're all listening right now. You do have to have an adult with you.
Mom, it's a snow day. Can I watch the waffle with you?
Well, and
That's how I see it.
for
yeah,
this.
that's exactly what happened. And on another note, if you're an adult, you need to bring a student with you. You can't just show up.
Yeah,
at class.
please don't come by yourself.
But I've been working on my Elvis.
That's right.
Don't do that. So we're excited, and it'll be fun, and tickets are on sale. We've already sold like 140 tickets or so
you
to
go.
it, and there is a cap, and we will likely run out. So
There's a cap. No cap.
But I noticed a little bit slower off the gate this year. It's probably because all these parents have been stuck home with their
Yeah.
kids, and they're like,
don't wanna do
do I
anything
really
else."
want to go to a dance with them?
Anything else with the kids?
I don't know. I'm
Had
not
enough.
so sure.
I'd rather go to work.
Had enough of that. Yeah, no kidding.
That was my thought this morning. Like, okay, I need to work today. How's this going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah.
So, I mean, exciting things in Rogersville. Exploring the bias of society, right?
Yep.
Check your heart. Check your motives.
Check your heart. Check your motive. If anything, like, think about it for a minute. Like, think about it. I think that's a good thing to do.
Oh yeah.
It's good
You
to know.
think before you speak.
Just think about it.
No, like we all need to be challenging our presuppositions and and let
100%.
people challenge us. Like I had somebody send me a post yesterday, like, "Hey, this is thought provoking. What do you think?" And at first, I was like, "Nah," you know. But I listened, I read, I paid attention, and I was like, I strongly agree with a lot of what they're saying.
Well,
and I disagree with some of their conclusions. You
And
know,
I-
like. It's helpful, right? Because it makes me think, and it makes me not just carry on down. You know, like I'm doing my thing, and I'm going. Like I need to be challenged.
Yeah.
As I have been thinking about thought project type things, and we got a new show coming up. We actually delayed the start a week because we couldn't do a run through yesterday afternoon.
Oh, I'm
So-
excited. You guys are making progress.
Yeah, so that's not going to start until the first Monday afternoon in February.
Cool.
But what I kind of hope to do with a little bit of that show is kind of examine the underlying assumptions that we have.
It needs to be examined.
That's a lost art, a lost practice.
Yeah, I think so. But there are so many things that I think that we take for granted, or it's just we start our reasoning not from its origin, but from
100%.
an assumption
Yes.
that is somewhat
100%,
removed
yes.
from where we could start. And I think it's a lot of fun and instructive and helpful to say, is that assumption accurate?
Yeah.
How accurate is it?
Telling
And
you,
should
yeah.
we not reevaluate this?
We've all created worldviews off of logical fallacies, and those things. Like if you're I think an emotionally and an intelligently healthy person, you're going to invite that kind of criticism into your life.
And and it should be there because our brain is wired by God to do certain things. One of which is to have thought shortcuts, and that is so stereotypes and assumptions and worldviews, and some of those things are so that like every time you get in the morning, you don't have to start with okay, there's a sun.
I got to re-download this process, all these processes.
I had never thought about it like that, but you're right.
But we have certain places that we begin our thinking because it's just too long to start over all the time.
That's like 50 First Dates, that movie. Yeah.
But worse. But sometimes it's
loading.
You're processing like, why am I in my
The older
car?
I get.
I remember how to drive.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
To go.
We have a good CPU, a good
That's
operating system.
That's thought-provoking, Will.
And if our assumption's wrong or maybe just misapplied, then maybe we need to reevaluate that. So I'm hoping we get to do a lot of that, Carol and I, on Monday
That would be
afternoons.
wonderful.
Just say, let's examine the underlying assumption that got us to this thought point of thinking and see if it's valid.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have a culture that has allowed other people to think for us.
Absolutely.
Well, for example, the one thing that I have been seeing reevaluated a lot, and it's not that this was ever sort of a culturally everybody agrees on it, but there is an assumption out there, it's broad, that diversity is valuable. And I think a lot of people just go, diversity is good. And I think I'm not saying it's not, but I just want to go, is it? And why do we think that?
Yeah.
And is it always good?
Yep.
It's maybe good in some circumstances, but is diversity valuable for diversity's sake, or is diversity valuable because if and only if it brings other value to whatever situation that you.
And I'm sure you're talking about diversity on a super broad term.
Well, there's all kinds of diversity. You've got racial diversity, which is all. Well, we have two kinds of diversity that are promoted.
Cultural diversity. I mean,
you have racial diversity and you have sexual orientation and gender diversity. Those are the two diversities. When you see DEI, diversity, that's what they're talking. They're not talking about diversity of thought.
Right.
They're not talking about diversity of opinion.
Yeah.
They're talking about two very specific types of diversity.
Yeah.
And it's worth thinking, is that really valuable? And a lot of people are saying, no, it's not for its
Well,
sake.
I think the problem is diversity at its core is wonderful, but we are doing things off of knee-jerk reactions because of things versus the underlying, like, what is the origin of this?
the goal? What's the
goal?
Yeah, rather than I'm having an emotional response to something.
Other than, we've been wronged or they've been wronged, and so we're going to do all this as a response to that. But what is the end goal
The
here?
reason I know that diversity is not always the right thing is there's nobody like me playing in the Super Bowl. Nobody.
And
there's a reason for that.
Jason Kelsey did last year, so he's closer to most of us.
Yeah, closer, but there's a lot different than that.
I joke. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason I reject things such as critical race theory. It's not that I don't want to see racism addressed. It's because the goal of critical theory is socialism and communism.
Well, it's the destruction of traditional value.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's inherently, if you study the core
But that's
of that.
the thing. But somebody might label me as a racist because I don't subscribe to the critical race theory.
Well, I think it's interesting, and
but that's my point. The goal. I want to know what your goal is before I'm
like,
willing
what's
to
the
jump
end
in.
game?
Yeah. What are we trying to accomplish here?
Well, and I mean, so, Kim Kardashian got announced as a spokesperson. I'm going to say this brand wrong, Balenciaga, maybe. It was one of the big fashion houses.
yeah, they're the ones that did all
that had the bondage campaign
with the kids. Yeah,
with kids. Legitimately, I saw it with my own eyeballs. I saw the pictures that they took of children and teddy bears in bondage. It was, and so if you're the fashion industry and your eyeballs are open at all, you would see that there's a large mass pushback on children being targeted or, pedophiles and all this stuff from the general public.
Interesting that every once in a while they get so myopic that they pull the curtain back and they show us who they really are.
I mean, it straight up shows that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's, and also another fashion house put out a big thing this week of it's a model with a baby that's made of like Swarovski crystals and like computer components. It's really weird. And it's like, people stop watching the Kardashians. I'm serious. Yeah. Like, this woman is a mother, and, they try to act like, oh, they're good people. I know they do X, Y, and Z bad, but they're good people. No, they're not. Like,
totally unrelatable, right?
No, and if she was one of the people, I think, who spoke out against it when they did this, and now she's one of their brand ambassadors, and it's a money grab.
Sure it is.
And so if you keep seeing, I hate this, oh man, but he is a good person. But she is a good person.
No, she's for herself.
X, Y, and Z tells me they're not.
Nobody's good. Nobody's good.
Well, it's like,
we know that.
It's like the professional soccer player in England who was so outspoken for the gay rights movement, and then the brand new forming league in Saudi Arabia that was throwing out massive money.
Yeah.
Gave him a contract, and all of a sudden he goes. And I mean, good for them. They called out his hypocrisy. Like, all of England was like, wait a second.
Whoa.
You said you were for gay. You were their number one ambassador as a player, and now you're going
to a place that wants to kill them.
Yeah. It's like, I'm glad at least there's, even if it's groups that I disagree with are willing to call out hypocrisy.
100%.
They'll all be willing to do it.
Do you remember Ricky Gervais's Oscar speech?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like,
that was amazing.
If ISIS announced releasing a streaming service, you call your agent, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And he's right.
Yes.
I know. And I mean, it's just like,
there's money in that.
On.
Sign me up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so grateful for people that just will say it.
We'll never sell out.
That's
here.
right. That's
well,
right.
and I mean, there's very not even extreme.
Unless it's enough money.
Enough money. We'll probably sell it if there's enough money. If there's examples in our day-to-day lives that are not nearly as extreme as the things that we are talking about. If someone is abusive to some types of people, they're probably, it's kind of like the old thing, if somebody's going to beat a dog, they'll probably do some other bad stuff too.
Well, and there's a little bit of two sides to that, and we're gonna have to wrap the show up, I think, in a little bit. But one is you need to stand up for people that.
No, bet the love of money is the root of all evil.
That's correct.
That's
the
true.
love of money is the root of all evil.
But you're right. There's a connection there.
But you don't want to be the person that's junior high, always taking up an offense for a friend. That's too much. But then you've also got the. Oh, well, I just don't want to get involved. I don't know what the conflict
There's
is.
a
I don't want to decide. I don't want to get in the middle of it. And that's kind of maybe not okay too.
Well, that's why we got where we are.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak out.
It's too messy.
You
I don't
get
want to
the
mess
junior
with it.
high
Yeah.
click. I hate them because of this. That's not okay. But it's also not okay to just stick your head in the sand and ignore
100%.
wrongdoing all around you.
Yeah.
When you could and should know and continue, maybe to support the wrongdoing. It's just not okay.
No, it's not okay.
That's why,
far too much
and you
of that
should
going
teach
on.
your children, by the way, if somebody's getting bullied, even if you get in trouble, go stand up for them.
Oh, I've had that conversation with my
bet.
girls a lot. I'm like, if
Be that
you
person.
see somebody doing something to someone you know is wrong, you have to say something.
Brave. Be
You
brave.
got to be brave. You have to.
One last point for me, maybe. If your kids are going to college, send them to College of the Ozarks. Oh my gosh.
It's a great experience.
Yeah, Jack's down there. He's been down there a week. He loves it. He gets up at 5 a.m. He goes to work. We asked him, he was home this weekend for his mom's birthday. We said, what's your favorite class? Patriotic education is his favorite class.
That's awesome.
He's swimming. They learn the Constitution. They learn civics.
Yeah.
They shoot guns. I'm like, this is amazing.
Isn't it great? Like
I want to go take that class.
Yesterday, my son, not at the College of the Ozarks, he's at Spurgeon College in Kansas City. He texted me at 9:45. He'd just gotten out of his 8 a.m. class. He goes, Dad, I'm loving my church history class.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And we just went back and forth talking. It just brings such joy to go, okay, my child's in a good place and they're being taught good things, good values, and like I feel good now about writing that check.
And I don't.
Yeah.
And, well, one, I don't have to write a
You
check.
don't. Yeah, that's the great thing about College of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
But what I like, I think it's awesome, and we just talked about this, that we can challenge our ideas,
Yeah.
and that's good. You should have your ideas challenged, But I don't like higher education that the goal is not to challenge the ideas to build the person up; it's to tear the person down.
Yeah.
And
I've
destroy.
often said I'm not going to send my girls to college to have them turned against me.
You shouldn't.
I'm not going to do that.
Do
I'm
not pay
not
for that.
going to do that.
To be deprogrammed and reprogrammed.
Well, and I mean,
no, thank you.
I saw my friends in college go through this phase of some of them of that, where it was just like, what are you guys talking about?
Well,
stop. Like, you use your brain a little bit here.
And on most college campuses, there's no opposing view. They
Yeah.
get one view.
Yeah.
And it's a leftist critical theory
Right.
view. That's all they know. And that's what I think is interesting in having conversations with younger people now. You have conversations with them. Like I was having a conversation with a younger guy, he's probably in his 20s. And he said something about systemic racism. I said, that doesn't exist. There's no such thing as systemic racism. And he just looked at me like, what are you talking about? Like it's a forgiven, like
Yeah.
a
It's
given
foregone
fact.
conclusion.
Foregone
Yeah.
conclusion
Yeah.
that systemic racism exists. I'm like, no, it really doesn't. There are
You're not even allowed to push back on it.
No.
You look
you're
like
not.
you got two heads the
And
minute
he
you said
just looked at me like,
Yeah.
what? It's like I said the sky was purple.
yeah.
It is sometimes in the
It is
evenings.
sometimes, yeah. But he couldn't fathom the concept that
just to push back once again.
because there's no opposing view. But here we are with your opposing views this morning and every Tuesday morning.
Go get breakfast.
Go get you
to
some
Los
biscuits and
Compadres,
gravy.
Get you some
Yeah.
breakfast over there.
That would be a great thing to do with your children today.
It really would.
Just go get breakfast.
Go get breakfast.
They
Go
might
get
be hungry.
breakfast.
Go feed them.
Yep, that'd be awesome. So
Sport local.
thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with more Morning Waffle.